You say you don't have time. That's a lie you've been telling yourself because the truth is uncomfortable. 1 hour, just 60 minutes. That's all I'm asking you to face. Not a year, not a lifetime. 1 hour to unleash the beast you've been hiding from the world. You scroll for hours, you complain for hours, you doubt yourself for hours. But when it's time to suffer with purpose, suddenly you're busy. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to expose you, because inside you right now is a savage, disciplined, relentless version of yourself that's starving, and you've been feeding it excuses. Let me tell you something. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your family, not your boss, not the government. You want confidence? Earn it. You want respect? Build it. You want a different life? Bleed for it. 1 focused hour every single day is how you separate from average. That 1 hour is where you shut the door, silence the noise, and go to war with your weak mindset. That hour repeated daily becomes discipline. Discipline becomes identity. Identity becomes destiny. If this message hits you in the chest, don't just sit there comfortable. Like the video, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from, because I want to know where the future savages are rising. This is your wake-up call. 1 hour. No excuses. Stay hard. Owning your hour starts with brutal honesty. You don't drift into greatness. You schedule it. Most people let the day attack them. Notifications, messages around other people's priorities, and by the time the day ends, they've built someone else's dream while theirs collects dust. Owning your hour means you decide ahead of time what that hour is for. It is not random. It is not casual. It is intentional. When that hour arrives, it is sacred. You protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. You shut the door. You silence the phone. You remove the easy escape routes. No negotiations. No 5 more minutes. When the clock starts, the work starts. The first battle is mental. Your mind will look for comfort immediately. It will suggest you're tired. It will remind you of something urgent. It will whisper that tomorrow is a better day. That voice is the weak version of you trying to survive. Owning your hour means recognizing that voice without obeying it. You don't argue with it. You don't get emotional about it. You simply go to work anyway. The calm decision to continue discomfort is power, not loud, not dramatic, just steady. Preparation is part of ownership. Before the hour begins, you already know the mission. Maybe it's studying. Maybe it's building a business. Maybe it's training your body. Whatever it is, the tools are ready. The environment is set. There is no confusion when the hour begins. Confusion wastes energy. Clarity sharpens it. When you sit down, you move immediately. Momentum builds confidence. Small actions, done quickly, silence doubt. Owning your hour also means narrowing your focus. Multitasking is a lie average people tell themselves to feel productive. During this hour, you do one thing, one target, one objective. You give it everything. Depth over distraction, quality over noise. When your attention drifts, you gently pull it back again and again. That repetition strengthens your mind like reps strengthen muscle. Focus is trained, not gifted. Discomfort will show up. That's guaranteed. Your brain prefers easy stimulation, quick entertainment, instant reward. But real growth is slow and sometimes boring. Owning your hour means embracing that boredom as a signal that you are building something real. When it feels slow, you stay. When it feels heavy, you breathe and continue. You are not chasing excitement. You are building capacity. There will be days when you feel powerful. On those days, you push further. There will be days when you feel weak. On those days, you show up anyway. The power of the hour is not in intensity alone. It is in consistency. Even a quiet, steady hour compounds. Even imperfect effort counts. What destroys progress is not weakness. It is absence. So you remove the option of absence. Accountability matters. Owning your hour means you track it. You respect it enough to measure it. You don't guess. You don't assume, how many hours you've completed this week. You see the pattern. Patterns reveal truth. If you skipped, you admit it. No excuses, just correction. This honesty builds internal trust. And when you trust yourself, confidence stops being fake. Energy management becomes critical. Before the hour, you fuel yourself properly. Water, movement, a clear space. You enter the hour prepared, not sluggish from distraction. You treat it like an athlete treats competition, because this is competition against your old habits, against procrastination, against the comfortable version of you that wants safety over growth. Over time, something shifts. The hour that once felt forced becomes part of who you are. You don't debate it anymore. It is simply what you do. That identity changes everything. When discipline becomes automatic, your mind is free from constant negotiation. You waste less energy deciding and spend more energy executing. Owning your hour also strengthens emotional control. When frustration hits, you don't quit. You pause, breathe, adjust, and continue. This carries into the rest of your day. You become less reactive, more grounded. Challenges outside the hour feel smaller because you've already faced something difficult on purpose. You've already proven you can stay when it's uncomfortable. This practice builds resilience quietly. There are no fireworks, no applause, just daily effort stacking on itself. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into transformation. Skills sharpen. Confidence deepens. Your posture changes. The way you speak changes, not because you repeated affirmations, but because you kept promises to yourself. Owning your hour is not about perfection. Some days the work will be messy. Some days your focus will wander. But you remain present. You finish the hour. Completion matters. Finishing builds strength. Every completed hour is a brick. Brick by brick, you construct a stronger identity. Eventually, you stop fearing hard things. You understand that discomfort is temporary, but growth is lasting. You begin to crave the clarity that comes from focused effort. The noise of the world becomes less attractive. Shallow distractions lose their grip. You experience the satisfaction of deep work, the kind that leaves you tired but proud. And the most powerful part is this: you realize that 1 hour was never just about productivity. It was about control. Control over your time, control over your habits, control over your direction. In a world pulling you in every direction, owning your hour is reclaiming authority over your life. It is a daily declaration that you are not passive. You are intentional. When you repeat this process, day after day, the beast inside you wakes up slowly, not through hype, not through loud motivation, but through disciplined action. The beast is focus. The beast is resilience. The beast is self-respect earned through effort. And every time the clock hits that scheduled moment, you show up, sit down, breathe steady, and begin again. Limited excuses begins with understanding that excuses are not loud. They are quiet, reasonable, intelligent-sounding thoughts that protect you from discomfort. They don't scream weakness. They whisper logic. I'm tired. I don't feel ready. Or things calm down. They sound mature, responsible, sensible. But if you listen closely, every excuse has one purpose: to keep you exactly where you are. And growth never happens where comfort is in control. The mind is designed to seek safety. It wants predictability. It wants approval. It wants the path that requires the least resistance. When you decide to pursue something difficult, the mind reacts. It scans for threats. Hard work feels like a threat. Failure feels like a threat. Judgment feels like a threat. So the mind offers excuses as protection, not because you are weak, but because you are human. Eliminating excuses means recognizing this process without being ruled by it. The first step is awareness. You cannot remove what you refuse to see. Pay attention to the patterns. When do you most often avoid the work? Is it when you feel uncertain? When you are tired? When the task feels overwhelming? Excuses usually follow predictable rhythms. They appear at the same time, in the same situations, using the same language. When you identify the pattern, you reduce its power. It becomes familiar. And what is familiar is easier to confront. Ownership replaces blame. Excuses often point outward. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough support. The environment becomes the villain. But while circumstances are real, they are rarely the full story. There are people with fewer resources who still move forward. The difference is not luck, it is responsibility. When you say calmly and honestly, "This is on me," something shifts. You stop waiting. You stop hoping someone adjusts the conditions. You begin adjusting yourself. Eliminating excuses also requires precision. Vague goals invite avoidance. If your objective is unclear, your mind can justify delay. When the target is specific, measurable, and time-bound, there is less room for negotiation. Instead of saying, I should work on my project, you define exactly what progress looks like today. My clear standards reduce emotional debate. You either did the work or you did not. The simplicity removes drama. Another layer is emotional tolerance. Many excuses are attempts to escape uncomfortable emotions, boredom, frustration, self-doubt. These feelings are not emergencies. They are temporary experiences. When you learn to sit with them without reacting, you build strength. You notice the discomfort. You breathe. You continue. The feeling rises and eventually fades. Each time you stay instead of escaping, your threshold expands. What once felt unbearable becomes manageable. Language matters deeply. The way you speak to yourself shapes your behavior. I can't is different from I choose not to. The first suggests incapability. The second reveals preference. When you replace helpless language with honest language, excuses lose their disguise. I can't wake up early becomes I am choosing comfort over discipline. That sentence may feel sharp, but is clarifying. Clarity creates change. My preparation eliminates many common excuses before they appear. If you know mornings are chaotic, prepare the night before. If distractions pull you away, remove them in advance. If energy is low, improve sleep and nutrition. Discipline is not only about willpower in the moment. It is about designing conditions that reduce friction. When systems are strong, excuses have fewer openings. Consistency builds credibility with yourself. When you follow through repeatedly, even imperfectly, you begin to trust your own word. That trust reduces the need for excuses because you no longer see yourself as someone who quits easily. Identity plays a powerful role. If you believe you are inconsistent, your behavior aligns with that belief. If you see yourself as disciplined, your actions begin to match it. Eliminating excuses is partly about rewriting that internal identity through repeated action. There will be setbacks, days when you fail to follow through. The temptation in those moments is to create new excuses to soften the disappointment. Instead, practice calm accountability. No self-hatred. No dramatic stories. Simply acknowledge the miss and reset immediately. The faster you return to the path, the weaker the excuse habit becomes. Delay strengthens it. Immediate correction weakens it. Comparison can also fuel excuses. Watching others succeed may trigger insecurity. The mind responds by minimizing their effort or exaggerating their advantages. They had better connections. They got lucky. These thoughts protect the ego but stall progress. Replace comparison with curiosity. What can you learn? What skills can you develop? Growth becomes personal rather than competitive. Eliminating excuses requires patience. Habits formed over years do not disappear overnight. Some excuses are deeply rooted in past experiences, fears, or disappointments. Approach them with firmness but not aggression. You are not fighting yourself. You are training yourself. Training takes repetition. Each time you choose action over avoidance, you carve a new pathway in the mind. Environment influences behavior more than most people admit. Surround yourself with standards that challenge you. If everyone around you accepts mediocrity, excuses feel normal. When you observe discipline modeled consistently, your internal expectations rise. You begin to see effort as standard rather than exceptional. That shift reduces internal resistance. Focus on controllables. You cannot control outcomes perfectly. You cannot guarantee recognition or success, but you can control effort, preparation, and persistence. Excuses often arise when outcomes feel uncertain. By redirecting attention to what you can control today, you stabilize your mindset. You measure progress by effort rather than external validation. Over time, eliminating excuses creates mental quiet. There is less internal negotiation, less debate, less wasted energy. Decisions become cleaner. When it is time to act, you act. When it is time to rest, you rest intentionally rather than through avoidance. That clarity reduces stress because you are no longer split between intention and behavior. Excuses thrive in isolation. Speak your commitments aloud. Share your goals with people who value growth. Accountability does not weaken independence. It strengthens follow through. When someone knows your intention, the cost of excuses increases. not from shame, but from responsibility. Most importantly, remember that eliminating excuses is not about becoming harsh or emotionless. It is about alignment, aligning your actions with your stated values. Aligning your daily behavior with your long-term vision. Each time you remove an excuse, you close the gap between who you say you want to be and who you are becoming. And that alignment builds a quiet confidence that does not need validation, does not seek applause, does not require perfect conditions, and does not wait for the right mood to arrive before stepping forward into the work that must be done today again and again without negotiation. Embrace the suck is not about chasing pain for attention. It is about changing your relationship with discomfort. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid anything that feels hard. They structure their days around convenience. They measure success by how comfortable they can become. But growth does not live in comfort. It lives in friction. It lives in the moments when your body wants to stop and your mind wants to escape. Embracing the suck means you stop running from those moments and begin to see them as necessary. Discomfort is a signal. It tells you that you are stretching beyond your current capacity. When you start a new habit, study a difficult subject, train your body, or build something meaningful, resistance appears. That resistance is not proof that you are incapable. It is proof that you are expanding. The problem is not discomfort itself. The problem is the story you attach to it. If you tell yourself that discomfort means you are failing, you retreat. If you tell yourself that discomfort means you are growing, you lean in. There is a quiet power in staying present when things feel heavy, not dramatic, not loud, just steady. When the work becomes repetitive and your mind starts searching for escape, you gently bring it back. When your muscles burn and your breathing deepens, you focus on form and rhythm. When frustration rises because progress feels slow, you return to the task without anger. Embracing the suck is a practice of calm endurance. Pain has layers. There is physical discomfort, like fatigue or soreness. There is mental discomfort, like boredom or confusion. There is emotional discomfort, like doubt or insecurity. Most people react to these sensations immediately. They distract themselves. They quit early. They lower the standard. But when you choose to remain with the sensation without reacting impulsively, you begin to build resilience. You learn that feelings are temporary. You learn that you can function even when conditions are not ideal. The mind often exaggerates discomfort. It predicts catastrophe. It tells you that you cannot handle another minute. But when you stay, you discover that you can handle more than you assumed. This discovery changes your self-image. You stop seeing yourself as fragile. You start seeing yourself as capable. That shift does not come from motivational words. It comes from lived experience. Embracing the suck also means removing the expectation that everything meaningful should feel good. Modern life conditions you to expect instant reward, fast entertainment, quick results, immediate feedback. Real progress is slower, sometimes invisible. When you work toward a long-term goal, there will be stretches where effort seems disconnected from outcome. Those stretches test your patience. They test your belief. If you require constant validation to continue, you will stop. If you accept that progress is often silent, you remain steady. There is discipline in how you interpret hardship. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You ask, what is this teaching me? That question shifts your position from victim to student. Every challenge contains information. Maybe it reveals a weakness in your preparation. Maybe it exposes a skill you need to develop. Maybe it strengthens your tolerance for uncertainty. When you approach difficulty with curiosity rather than resentment, growth accelerates. Embracing the suck does not mean ignoring limits. It means distinguishing between discomfort and damage. Growth requires strain, not destruction. There is wisdom in pacing yourself, in resting strategically, in adjusting methods when necessary. The goal is not self-punishment. The goal is expansion. Sustainable expansion requires awareness. You push, but you also listen. You challenge yourself, but you remain intentional. Community can influence how you experience hardship. When you are surrounded by people who avoid difficulty, discomfort feels abnormal. When you are around people who train, study, build, and persist despite obstacles, hardship feels like part of the process. Standards normalize struggle. If effort is expected, you stop feeling isolated in your challenge. You begin to see yourself as part of a larger culture of discipline. Language again shapes experience. Saying, "This is terrible," intensifies resistance. Saying, "This is challenging and I can handle it," creates space. The words you repeat during discomfort either fuel panic or reinforce calm. Develop phrases that anchor you. Simple reminders that you have been here before, that you have endured before, that you can continue now. Embracing the suck strengthens emotional regulation. When things go wrong, instead of reacting impulsively you pause, you observe your reaction, you choose your response. This skill transfers beyond work or training. In conversations, in conflict, in unexpected setbacks, you become less reactive, more grounded, less controlled by mood, more guided by principle. There is also humility in embracing the suck. You accept that mastery requires repetition. You accept that you are not above fundamentals. You practice even when it feels basic. You refine even when it feels tedious. Pride often resists this stage. It wants recognition without repetition. But repetition is where strength is built, quietly, gradually. As you continue to lean into discomfort, fear begins to shrink. Not because fear disappears, but because your relationship with it changes. You no longer interpret fear as a stop sign. You see it as a signpost pointing toward growth. The presence of fear becomes information rather than command. You acknowledge it and move anyway. Over time, your threshold expands. What once felt overwhelming becomes routine. Tasks that intimidated you become manageable. The workload that once drained you becomes sustainable. This is adaptation. The human system is designed to adapt to stress when applied consistently and intelligently. By embracing the suck, you trigger that adaptation. You evolve. There is a deep sense of pride that comes from enduring something difficult with integrity. Not loud pride, not arrogance. A quiet respect for yourself. You know what it took. You remember the moments you wanted to quit. You remember choosing to continue. That memory becomes evidence. Evidence that you are stronger than your impulses. Evidence that you can trust yourself under pressure. The path of comfort is crowded. The path of growth is quieter. Embracing the suck often means walking alone for periods of time, not because you are superior, but because not everyone is willing to endure the same strain. Solitude during growth is common. If you interpret it as rejection, you suffer unnecessarily. If you interpret it as focus, you remain steady. Each time you choose to stay in discomfort rather than escape, you reinforce a powerful identity. You become someone who does not flinch at challenge. Someone who understands that ease is not the goal. Someone who respects the process more than the applause. And as this identity strengthens, you approach the next challenge with less hesitation, less drama, and a deeper calm rooted in experience rather than emotion, continuing forward into the work that stretches you beyond who you were yesterday without demanding that it feel comfortable before you commit to it. Again, so now you've heard it. Own your hour, eliminate your excuses, embrace the suck, but none of this matters if you walk away and do nothing. Information doesn't change you. Action does. 1 hour today can shift your direction, and repeated daily, it can rebuild your identity. Don't wait for the perfect mood, the perfect plan, or the perfect moment. Decide, schedule it, show up, stay with it. That's how you unleash the beast quietly, consistently, relentlessly, and that's how you take your power back. Stay hard.